everybody, I'm Zee Garcia. Today we are continuing our Unsung Gems series of videos, and we are doing the letter C, or one of those two, C or C, whichever one looks right. This is a series of videos in which I pick 5 or so games that start with that letter, and I tell you a little bit about them. You know, there are typically games that I don't think get a lot of love, that sort of, missed getting any attention when they came out, perhaps, or just seem to be flying under the radar, okay? So, let's go ahead and kick it off for the letter C. My first pick for today is a game called Cannon Buster. Cannon Buster is from a designer called Gary Kim, and this is a game that designer has sort of re-implemented like 3 or 4 times. This is the simplest one of them all. It's the most sort of kiddie looking of them all, but it's also an extremely approachable one. The main core is the same across all these different games. That core is, you are dealt a hand of cards that keeps going up each round. You play like 10 rounds or something like that. And so during the first round, you get 3 cards and you'll keep 1. The second round, you'll get 4 and you'll keep a couple of those, and so on. You have a hard limit of how many you can have in front of you on the table. And as you have, at the end of every round, you check who has the majority of each number. There's a single 1, there's 2 2s, there's 3 3s, something like that. And if you have the most 5s, let's say, then you have the little character that has the 5 on it, and it has some special ability. Get a point, shoot somebody else's card, score something, whatever. And so it ebbs and flows who controls what throughout the game, and then at the end of the game, there's a final round of scoring. I like the piratey theme on this one. I think it's very, again, cartoony. It's very lighthearted. But mechanically, it retains what I liked about the other versions I played without feeling self-important. Some of the other ones just, again, kind of have that feeling of very serious illustrations and everything is like, ooh, ah. And that's cool. But this one is very disarming by its very nature. You know, it's quicker, it's sillier. You can just throw cannon blasts at people, and I really like it. I think this is a good one, while, again, maintaining that interesting core mechanism. So Cannon Blaster is one I would recommend if you intend to play with a mixed age group, and you are pretty sure no one's going to get their feelings hurt, because it can certainly be mean. It's got a terrible rating on Board Game Geek, and it deserves a little bit better than that. It's horrendous. So there you go, Cannon Buster. Next up, I'm going to be talking about a roll and write called Cat Cafe. Cat Cafe is one that I'm surprised did not get much love at all. I know there's a lot of roll and writes. That might be why. But it's got a theme, a cute theme with cats. Sort of like what's going on mechanically is interesting. You're putting, you're sort of putting numbers up these cat poles and writing little symbols and stuff in them, and then scoring based on what you did where. You put like a little cat bowl and a little butterfly toy, and all these kinds of things. Rolling dice, doing all that stuff. It's solid. It's a game that I really think if you are someone who enjoys the idea of roll and writes, but you tend to find them flavorless, and a lot of them are abstracted and just sort of colors and numbers kinds of games, right? If you tend to find them samey because of that reasoning, I think Cat Cafe is a good one for you to try out, because it's going to give you a similar mental sort of workout which isn't great, but it's something, to think about where something should go in order to score you the most for a group or whatever. But then really nice illustrations on the paper pad, and very simple little drawings you're going to be doing with your pencil. Nothing crazy, nothing too, that you have to be too careful with, and just quick and works well. It's not the best roll and write I've ever played, but boy, I've played plenty that are worse. And this one just does not seem to get a lot of attention. It's got not a lot of people who have sort of, given it a shot. So there you go. Cat Cafe is one I certainly recommend. I like it. I own it still. It's good stuff, and it's adorable. Adorable. Next up, I'm going to be talking about a tile laying game called Christmas Tree. Oh, Christmas Tree. This one has even gone through multiple editions. And even so, it still doesn't seem to have garnered a lot of attention or gained any traction. This was a recent discovery for me. I played, I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago. I missed when it originally had come out. But I played it, and I thought it was a very clever tile-laying game in which the tiles are these, I guess, run-by. And you are going to be drafting those, playing them onto a tree formation in front of you, trying to get a few things to work out. They've got ornaments on them, so you want to create specific sort of patterns and arrangements with the shape of the ornaments and the color of the ornaments to score. And then also, the sides of the cards will have a little light bulb half. A red little light bulb or a white or a green one, I forget. And you're trying to build light bulbs with those. If you put the two halves together, that'll be worth something. It's very straightforward. It's a clean tile-laying game that is, feels like one of the simpler card drafting kinds of games. And then you take those cards and arrange them on the board. It's in a very detached way. It kind of feels like Seven Wonders Duel in reverse, where in that game you have a pattern and you draft from it and do whatever. In this one, you just have the cards first and then you build the pattern just for you. Again, this is a stretch, but that's kind of how that feels. And I think it's a great holiday game, obviously. But even if, and you can certainly relegate it to that place in your collection, which I kind of have, to be honest. I own one, and I like to bring it out during the holidays. It looks great on the table. But even if you don't do that, you can just have it in rotation. It's a solid drafting, tile-laying game. Looks good. Great scoring. Pretty quick game to play. This is a winner. This is one that certainly deserves a lot more attention than it gets, and it just doesn't. I don't know what it is. If it's a distribution thing, if it is a thematic thing, I don't know. But I definitely recommend this one. It gets big thumbs up from me. Christmas Tree. Oh, all right, up next, I'm talking about a little card game here, which is a thematic successor, I guess, to Abyss, a game that some of you actually suggested for my Unsung Gems A list, but I don't think it's an unsung game. That one's it's highly rated. It gets a lot of love. Abyss is a great game, and then they came out with a follow-up called Conspiracy: Abyss Universe. The title, I don't think helped. That's one thing I think hurt. The game is not really related to the original one. It has the same artwork. Some of the same emotions are in play. Like, I don't want to do too much because then I help my opponent. That's sort of some sensibilities in the original game that this one shares. But this is a 15-minute card arranging, sort of push your luck slightly kind of game in which you are building this inverse pyramid in front of you, and you'll be scoring based on a few different things. You want to have the same kinds of tribes next to each other. You want to have special scoring abilities that give you points for this or that or the other thing. You want to have pearls, because whoever has the most of those is going to get a number of points at the end of the game. It is an excellent little card game. It's just fantastic. Very enjoyable. Like I said, quick to play, great artwork. Everything works well. It's got that smoothness that you can tell is just played and smoothed over and played and smoothed over again until it is just buttery and a perfect, quick 15-minute game. I don't know why it did not. It just doesn't have that many people who have rated it or sort of looked into it on BGG. And I don't know what it is. I know that when the game originally came out, it kind of stumbled out of the gate. They had some troubles getting it out, and it was sort of hard to find. Then it was out, and immediately I remember seeing it on deep discount in a few different places online. So that was weird, and I just don't know. I don't know why people have ignored this game. It's a great game. If you like card games of any kind, pretty much, you, I think, have a good chance of liking Conspiracy here. So give it a try, even if you haven't played Abyss. You don't need to have played one to play the other one, though I'd certainly recommend Abyss. It's an excellent game, one of my favorite games of all time. But yeah, Conspiracy Abyss Universe is wonderful, And I say give it a shot. You can probably find it on the cheap too, because again, a lot of people were, a lot of outlets were getting rid of it. So there you go. That's my fourth pick, and now one more. And that one more pick is the newest game in my list here. This is a game called The Court of Miracles. This is a French game that came out, I think, last year. But it's got very few people who have looked into it. Few ratings. Again, all those things that I kind of use to form my opinions on what counts as underrated, okay? So The Court of Miracles is one of those games in which you are playing out tokens face down to different locations. And then when there are enough there, then they all get revealed face up and you see what happened. Who won, who takes something from whom, right? Recently we've seen examples of that in Victorian Masterminds. And then if we go back in time a while, then you'll see things like Aladdin's Dragons from Richard Breese. That's a game that did that a long time ago. This one does it very well. It does it with some flair. It's got an interesting theme, kind of a dark theme in the slums of this location in which the players represent different sort of gangs of characters claiming power in the underbelly of this place. And so you'll be messing with each other. You'll be recruiting new tokens that you pull from a bag, and now you have a new character you can send out. You'll be playing action cards you'll earn. You go to different locations, and if you win there, something is given to you, be it straight victory points, or more of those characters, or more of those cards, or the ability to switch something somewhere else, that sort of thing. It works really well. It's a great multiplayer game. You have to like some of that, as I was talking about earlier with Cannon Buster. This one's a much more serious game, but you have to like a little bit of that, sort of take that sensibility. You have to be okay with, somebody else drinking your milkshake. But if you are okay with that kind of game, and you want an exciting, vibrant isn't quite the right word, but sort of the activity in it is vibrant. The world is depressing, but if you want one that has a lot of back and forth and wah-ha-ha kind of moments, The Court of Miracles, I think, is going to give you that. And it's a tight playtime, too. It'll be like a 45-minute game. So there you go. That's it for me, everybody. Hopefully one of those is, at least one of them is something you haven't heard of before or maybe forgot about. And maybe this inspires you to go back and give it a closer look. Maybe you can find one of these or dig one back out of the closet and give it another go. So that's going to do it for Unsung Gems C. Make sure you come on back next week for the next one of these, and I'll let you guess which letter is going to be all on your own. But that's going to do it for me. Thanks again for checking this out. My name is Zee Garcia. I'll see you on the next one.